Hello, everybody. It's Movie Ruins Movies, featuring Wombat. Hello, Wombat.
Hey, happy to be here.
So here we are. We're going to ruin Sully in the best possible way.
Perfect.
Let us begin.
Let's do it.
1549, runway 4, clear for takeoff.
The old U.S. Airways call sign.
Yeah, you don't hear those anymore.
There's your Airbus spooling up. Skybus.
Oof.
That sounds bad.
It's intense.
I feel like it doesn't make that noise when it shuts down.
I hope not, and I hope to never know.
1549.
They did the Mayday.
Both engines.
Nailed it.
Yep.
No relight on 1 or 2.
Texas 1549, if we can get it for you. Do you want to try to land runway 13?
Departure control, we can make it. We're turning back towards LaGuardia.
Yeah, look at that. Got a little skid going.
Did he split the throttles? And is that how he did it?
That's Afterburner, man.
That looks just like in
thrust.
Top Gun Maverick, where he splits the throttles and kicks the rudder. Right. It's basically the airline
Tower,
equipment.
Texas 1549, trying to make 13.
Sully, we're too low. Sully, we're too low.
Oh, that's gonna hurt. That's his ties loose.
It's probably the least of his worries if that's a sight picture. To be honest.
Sully!
Lori, I love you.
Gotta say it for the CBR. Oh.
I know there was a lot of controversy with that scene, you know,
Oh, I bet.
post 9/11 stuff.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But hey, got my attention. I'm watching
Oh, yeah.
now.
Great intro. Great intro. And what he did.
If I'm ever in a movie, please don't make me jog.
It's just going to be cutting to a scene of me cruising the internet in my hotel room. What time's the
yeah, this
pickup?
is not realistic.
Well, maybe it is for him. I mean, maybe that's his thing.
Well, that part is getting nearly run over by a cab in New York. 1,000% true. Pooping for a long time. That's a realistic scene.
I don't think that's what he's doing. I think he's on the edge of the tub, but
Oh, okay. Well,
but still. He's ironing his
so
uniform is what he's doing.
like,
That's how you.
That's a good point. That's
what
thing.
he's doing.
You got to steam the uniform in the hotel.
So you
Get
look
the
sharp.
wrinkles out. Yeah,
That's what
your overnight
Because
attire.
you use the iron to grilled cheese your sandwich.
For your
right?
paninis.
So you can't use
Your
that.
grilled cheese.
Yeah. So perfect.
Onboard count 150
Oh, boy.
passengers, 3 flight attendants.
As I began the left turn, I realized I couldn't make it back, and it would have eliminated all the other options. Returning to LaGuardia would have been a mistake.
Okay, well, let's get into how you calculated all those parameters.
There was no time for calculating.
Using my
I had
wisdom.
to rely on my experience of managing the altitude.
If you
speed
think you-
thousands
you
of
die.
flights over 4 decades.
Right.
You're saying you didn't do any.
I eyeballed it.
You eyeballed it.
I eyeballed it
Yes.
with my left eye.
The best chance those passengers had was on that river. And I bet my life on it. In fact, I did.
Yeah. 'Cause
And I would do it again.
Aviation engineers are theorizing you had enough energy to make it back to a runway.
Well, engineers.
Harvey
are not
Dent has come a
pilots.
long way since
They're
those
wrong.
days. Gotham.
They
Mhm.
weren't there.
Regardless, we have to follow up on all implications. as
I
part
do
of
think this scene's probably fairly
Our computers
accurate
will
in
run
the sense of
scenario
like
algorithms
two
that'll
sides
generate
of this.
simulations with your exact
Right,
I thought
you
they
know.
were.
engine loss.
Yeah, I thought the NTSB was mad because they were poorly
I
portrayed.
would like to oversee those
I
computer
heard that as well.
Not possible during an investigation.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. The NTSB had us tied up all day.
Yeah,
This part of it too, I think they did a good job
need to
too,
hear your
because
voice.
you can imagine. I
More than
mean,
anybody else.
so that he's on this trip, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, call it a 3, 4, 5 day, whatever he was planning on going to do, and takes off out of New York and is now stuck there. Is the way it's portrayed. Now, I don't know if that's how it would happen or
The
not. Like, I don't know
reporters
if you'd
wanted to
be
give an update.
able to go
inside the
home
mind
or
of
if you'd be
Sully.
stuck there and they would start the investigation immediately. I'm not sure. Obviously, I've never been a part of it.
I mean, I feel like it's something you could do from just about anywhere.
Call, I can't hear you. Call me back.
But like this whole, once they figured out where you lived and stuff, like,
Yeah. Well, she kind of fell off the wagon because now she started selling drugs in Ozark. I guess they got divorced and she started the Ozark drug trade.
Yeah, just tired, that's all. How are the girls?
Wow, they're
I mean, they portray, granted it's 2009, but they really nailed the airline captain.
Sounds like you
Flip
are,
phone. He's probably got a braided belt somewhere in there, right? I mean,
Yeah, well,
that's
they'll
got to
be
be
all
there.
right.
There's some New Balance. I guarantee you there's New Balance shoes.
He was wearing New Balance when he was running.
Yeah.
The whole world is talking about you. My Sully. God, I can't believe this.
Where's the Corvette?
I have to stay here longer.
Air Force.
The NTSB.
Yeah, so there you go. He's saying
already.
I have to stay here longer.
Yeah, so I mean, they explain it. I'm just curious if that's actually how it would go down. Because if it would, that really stinks, man. Like,
You're hostage now.
I did the best I could.
And you're just going to sit
Of
there and
course you
second guess yourself, which is what they.
You saved everyone.
I'll be busy crop dusting in the Super Cub rest of summer, so you can take the plane up.
Crop dusting in a Super Cub?
Still $6 an hour. I'll consider it less.
Seems inefficient.
Pilot never stops acquiring knowledge. You'll make mistakes. Everyone does. Just learn from them. Yes, sir. And never forget, no matter what's happening, fly the airplane.
Absolutely, sir.
It's good advice.
One other thing.
Nice,
It's important.
Sir?
Always read the
Smile.
contract.
All right.
Yeah.
Never extend.
Texas.
Always read the contract.
Those lessons come later on in your career.
Never answer the phone. Always let it go to voicemail.
Oh, it wasn't Katie. It was the lights and the camera that she brought with her.
Okay, all done.
Ooh.
That was for my mom.
What's your
Her
mom
name's
look
Brenda.
like?
She says to say thank you and that she's single.
Well, tell Brenda thank you, but I've got to go.
I'm on my second wife. I can't do a third one yet. Can't afford it.
I'm not a wide body captain.
Did you see I worked for U.S. Airways in 2009?
Yeah. It's a rough.
I make $34 an hour as a captain. This is not.
God.
Dude, it was bad back then. I mean, I think the top of it was like $120 an hour.
Yeah.
Me at Microsoft Flight Center.
Well, and the thing I think that people don't realize is like we don't train in the airlines for anything like this at all.
Correct.
I mean, single engine, sure.
You've got to be
Right, we train single engine
Look, I'm sorry if you're frustrated,
and
our
nozzle,
job
but
is
to lose
investigate
both.
how a plane ended up in the Hudson River. On the Hudson River.
Isn't it a little early in the year to go fishing?
Is that red?
Seeking the facts is hardly fishing, Mr. Skiles.
Okay, then here's the most important fact. There's only 2 people who know what happened in the cockpit that day, and I'm one of them.
And we appreciate your perspective.
Why do you even think we're here today?
Because you told me
It's
to,
because
Drill
Captain
Sergeant.
Sullenberger did not head back to LaGuardia.
No, because they do an
Look, I just
NTSB
finished training on
investigation
the
every
A320,
time.
And I can tell you the only reason the plane operated as well as it did, that the aircraft could land anywhere, is because Captain Sullenberger turned on the auxiliary power unit.
He was simply following the QRH.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't following proper procedure at all. And I know because I had a QRH in my hands. He switched on the APU immediately after engine rollback. According to Airbus, that's the 15th thing on the list to do.
Correct.
15th. If he had followed the damn rules, we'd all be dead.
That is a true statement.
LaGuardia. Yeah, looks like it. Hold. See, this is realistic. Although he shouldn't be carrying, like, that's realistic. Those dudes always used to carry the big ass suitcase things with all their pubs, their pubs kit.
Yeah, he's true.
This is before iPads, right?
Oh yeah.
09. And paper
I
trash.
was our first.
We're not gonna make it. I've been waiting a year for this trip, Dad. I'm not gonna.
I was our first class here to have the.
See you there, Uncle Robbie.
Are you really?
Yeah, and that was 14.
Altimeters verify. 3023.
3023.
Nah, see, the FO would have set all that up before.
Checklist complete.
It depends because it's pilot flying for us. So
You really think they'll release us?
Check the latest reports. We're clear all the way to Charlotte.
And stakes. The Frisco's on me.
Never
Dude,
been.
this is legit. This is like a legit airline dude conversation.
Ribeye will break your heart.
Oh yeah, 100%.
More of a
Although they're
porterhouse
probably
man.
using ship's headsets
Porterhouse
instead of those
will stop
things,
you.
right? That's not what
I
the
don't
ship's
know.
headsets are.
We were pre 2020. Everybody used ships headsets, but now people don't.
Well, this is 09, so
Spirit sent
Yeah.
us.
I know
We got
Donkey
canceled,
uses
and
the
they said
ship's
that we
headset.
were
'cause
Well,
rerouted.
he's
cheap.
cheap.
You guys had some seats?
Flight is closed.
Again, U.S. Airways. So
Wait, see that old guy limping up right there? That's my dad. It's an emergency. He's got to be on this flight.
What kind of emergency?
This is accurate.
customer service
like
checks
cancel?
out. Yep, lack thereof.
I think I'll play the 7 air on the
Yeah, that's not realistic. Overhead bins that aren't full already at the
Yeah,
front.
exactly. No chance.
Excuse me.
They're gate checking bags now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Although it's 09, so this is probably before.
Somebody actually helping somebody on a plane.
Yeah.
That's unrealistic.
Hey guys, I'm
what,
in
are you,
here.
what is this?
So sorry. He likes to throw everything.
Screaming baby? That's realistic.
That is.
Hello, man.
Needs to scream more,
I
though.
Googled you last night.
So
What
to
about
speak.
That's
your,
also realistic.
the company on your website? It's
Googling
impressive.
your captain to see what kind of
Thanks.
trip you're
People
in
have said
for.
that to me.
Yeah.
I thought I was a good bullshitter, but
Like, when are you going to tell me that you write
go
books?
pro.
I'm like, what?
Hey,
Like, I
I'm
Googled
only
you.
teasing. But I mean, the site does make it sound like your air safety consulting business has got about 100 employees and headquarters in 3 states. Then when I dug a little deeper, I realized it's only you.
now, go
Well,
easy.
they already hate each other.
Just getting it
Perfect.
going. I'm not usually accused of being a bullshitter.
Nah, don't get me wrong. Actually, it's a compliment. Off that website, I'd hire you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Accurate.
Welcome
That's how I
Legit.
sit on the. That's me dead hitting.
A good CRM discussion is you're a bullshitter. And I Googled
But
you
I
and
like
figured
that.
out. Yeah, I like that in the pilot.
Exactly.
Teach me your secrets. Talking about a side business.
1549, ready for pushback at gate 20.
Yep.
Cactus 1549, gate 21, cleared to push, spot 28, ground for taxi.
That's realistic.
Accurate
Those are
comms.
real words. Yeah. The noises aren't that realistic. This thing sounds like it's the Space Shuttle Endeavour.
Yeah.
Can we take a look?
That's accurate. People can't remember to keep their.
Somebody needs to be in the lab right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. We got to stop here and wait. Somebody has to.
dude,
pee.
that's not accurate because I don't think the
The last time I saw
Scimitar-
LaGuardia look like that was in COVID when there was
I'd like
nobody
to get
out
out
there.
of LaGuardia on time. Well, you know the only way to get out of LaGuardia on time. You know, what's that? Fly out of JFK.
that's true.
Buddy.
That is true.
Dumpster fire. Dude, it's got afterburner.
Just like the Gatling gun in every military
Take off
movie.
the
Right?
own fuel quantity there.
Now, this is a common scene that
14,000
people say is
required. We got
wrong
21 on
because of
board.
his hands on the thrust levers, but this was actually their procedures.
Cactus 1549, runway
Back
4,
there.
clear for takeoff.
What is
So,
what
like, we
Cactus
do it
1549, clear for takeoff.
if
hold
I'm
on,
the
let's watch
pilot.
it. Oh, well, I'll pause it.
All right.
Go this side.
All right, what's wrong with that?
So, a lot of people are like, well, that's not accurate because the captain would put his hands on the thrust levers after it was set. And for US Airways at the time, that was their procedure, is the pilot flying kept their hands and would initiate the abort.
Does he take it off?
No, he keeps it on as the FO.
Go this side.
Most airlines do not. The captain would have their hands on the thrust levers.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but people would call that out when this movie came out to be inaccurate. And it's actually not. That was how they did it, is that he was a pilot flying.
So currently, that is not how we do it.
It's not how we do it.
Because of the ancestor worship that an FO is not a real person and cannot do their own rejected takeoff.
Fact. Correct.
So I think that it's dangerous to do it any other way than what he's doing, but I digress. I don't like the change of aircraft control. I think if you're the pilot flying, you're the one who should be able to do the rejected takeoff. The captain doesn't have any more SA than the guy flying.
No, I don't disagree with you, honestly. But I also agree that it's whatever you train to. So if they train to this, then I have no problem with it. Like, but if like what you currently do automatically switched without training, it would be very dangerous. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the issue is whatever you train to. But I agree with you. Any more excess change of controls is weird.
Well, that and the at our company, the FO cannot call a reject. You can call a reason, but you cannot say the word reject, unlike a go around where anybody can call a go around.
Now, well, let me ask a quick question because I'm curious. This is less to do with the movie, but let's say you were in this position.
Yeah.
Your hands are not on the thrust levers or throttles, and you noticed a aircraft crossing, runway incursion ahead of you.
Yeah.
And you say, aircraft or whatever, and your captain does nothing. You're expected to reject. You're not just going to drive into the plane, right? I mean, that's
expected to. We're not trained to. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yes, for self-preservation, it's a good idea, but by the letter of the FOM, you call out what you see and you do not say reject.
Yeah, it's interesting. We did training just a few months ago on this, on RTOs for runway incursions. And it was very interesting watching different reactions because it was just like this. The FO is pilot flying, captain had his hand on the thrust levers because that's what we do. It was very interesting, the different reactions. But anyway, that's not this. Well, but this part I just wanted to point out because a lot of people say that about this, that this wasn't accurate, and it actually is.
Well, all the comm was right. I mean, toga, 100%. Thrust set. I didn't hear an 80 call. I don't know if they were doing that back then, but
yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, everything else thus far seems pretty spot on.
That looks like a takeoff, so that's realistic.
That is realistic.
Positive rate. Gear up, please.
Way late. Positive rate was like in that shot. It should have been positive rate, not.
They're trying to make it a movie.
Yeah. You ever fly with the guys that do the hand gesture? Positive rate. You're up. They'll do that, and you're like,
never get over how beautiful it is up here.
All right, that's zero cockpit
below 10.
Yeah,
so it's accurate because people.
Did that exist in 2009?
I think so.
Birds. Whoa.
Okay. Wasn't there? Don't know, but I would say this is a dramatization.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big flock from all the reports that I've read. So, but they do have to make it. Oh, okay. How the engines shook.
How the engines, right? Because I've taken birds and engines, and it does create stuff, but not to this extent. It doesn't look like the engine is just exploding. Now, there are videos out there of aircraft that look like they got a big afterburner plume. I mean, we talked about it, so I'm not gonna say it's wrong. Just saying. I think there's a little Hollywood to this.
Yeah, I don't disagree. When I first saw this and saw those engines shaking, I'm like, dude, like, are they going to come off physically? Like, that's a lot of movement. I agree. So potentially, obviously, nobody knows unless you were sitting on the wing of that plane and looking out the window when it happened. So, but yeah, I get it. I get what they're doing.
For just a bird compressor stall. Now, if there was a associated fire, like if it took some hydraulics and stuff, like we've seen, like that Atlas flight or whatever,
something,
then it's going to look like there's a big flame and stuff. But for just a compressor stall, it's the pop, bang, buzz, backfiring, flame out the back, or actually out of the front sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why they're getting out.
It's okay.
That was procedure.
One might be a good idea. Just
was it really?
Seatbelts on.
Yeah, once the gear comes up. A lot of this stuff changed. Yeah, I think
so. Now it's passing 10 chime.
10, double ding. Yeah.
So who chimed him?
I don't think anybody chimed him. I think it was the gear coming up had a chime.
Really?
That makes sense. Yeah, I think so. That's what I was told anyway. I'm not sure. I mean, this is all before my airline days, right?
So they removed that software or something?
Possibly, yeah, I think so. And it made it a hard thing. But I'm not 100% sure.
Is this what it looks like? EPR, all that stuff? Is that
not ours? The fuel on board's accurate. some of the nomenclature is different than what we have, but it's accurate enough to show what they're trying to get across. As far
I can't see the difference. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
So,
yeah, I just thought it was weird that they're getting up like on takeoff. Like, but again, I started flying airlines when this movie came out.
Yeah,
in fact, I watched it right before NDOC.
Awesome.
The week before NDOC, I'm watching.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's what I tell people that come to the Airbus. I'm like, day one, I'm like, have you watched Sully? And if they're like, no, I'm like, well, you're behind on your training.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear. Like, this is all you need is this movie.
But I will say this, we're coming up to it. When I watched it in theaters, the flight attendant performance in this movie gave me chills. Like, I was like, holy crap, I was like, man, they did a great job.
Yeah.
And they also, they got good actresses and people to play these roles. Like, casting was really good.
We got one rolling back. We got both of them rolling back.
Now, I think
my aircraft?
Not yet. He's about to. Smart.
I'm starting the APU.
Would the lights go off?
Without an APU, potentially.
You don't have emergency lighting in the...
there is some, but I think they're, again, dramatizing it a little bit for how dark. Remember, it's daytime, so it wouldn't be necessarily that dark either. I think that's a little bit of Hollywood, too, but it's just a show.
You have to show, not tell, so that makes sense.
Just double check your seatbelts, please.
Seatbelts can
Is that them talking to each other? Is that why they're dinging?
Yeah, that's the ding back and forth.
Seatbelts.
She looks like a U.S. Airways flight attendant, so.
What do you think that was? I think it was a bird strike.
You think they would know that? You think they would be that cognizant and say?
The QRH.
I'll tell you.
Thrust on both engines. Mayday, mayday. This is Cactus 1549. We hit birds.
Maintain 15,000 Delta 331.
We've lost thrust on both engines. We are turning back towards LaGuardia.
Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading 220.
220.
Which engine did you lose?
Both engines.
Soup?
Yep.
I have an emergency.
Now,
that dude's like, I picked a bad day to stop sniffing glue. Like, damn.
Well, all right. So, comm-wise, mayday, mayday, mayday. Dude, our airline still has trouble getting people to say it. And we've joked about this on the show. That is the ICAO standard thing, and that is correct. Like, that is what they're teaching now.
Yeah.
But in 2009, I think he'd have been on a domestic flight. I think people would have been like, what? Huh?
Potentially.
But it is correct. It's always been correct.
It's always been correct. It's just
this is pristine comm. Exactly. Tell them what you're doing. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Tell them the problem. Tell them where I'm going. Tell them what I want to do.
Well, and I know we'll get to it, but remember, his training in the Air Force and the military is what bleeds over here for comm brevity.
We don't ever do that. We never say mayday.
No, but just the what I'm saying is more so taking control of the situation and not being afraid to be like, this is what I'm doing. I'm not asking, like, this is because that's how we're taught.
And starting the APU, was that not a procedure? Like, they make a big deal of that.
So they do make a big deal out of it. It is in the checklist. It's pretty far down the checklist. I don't know if it's 15 steps anymore because checklists change, right?
Right.
But I will tell you, it's something we teach even on a single engine. Before you even get into the book or anything, it's like, get the APU on. It goes back to, even on a single engine, it goes back to just having a dual generator source. That's all you're doing. You're having a backup.
On the 7.8, it'll start automatically.
Yeah, and honestly, on the newer, bigger Airbuses, it very, very well may as well. It's just that is something that. So yes, I will say his smartest move was kicking that thing on.
Yeah, just like the realized it.
Yeah, whether he realized it or not, sometimes we do things as pilots that you're just like, I don't know, my gut says to do this, and you do it, and then later on you think about it, and you're like, damn, that was.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. I'll take that. So
yeah.
What?
Brace!
This is the part that gave me chills, dude. They look at this. They're so serious and correct and like Those flight attendants in real life did a great job.
Cactus 1549, turn right 280.
And they did a good job, like
Yep.
having that sense of
We're going to end up in the Hudson.
this was such a serious
I'm
thing.
sorry, say again, Cactus? Cactus 1549, radar contact lost.
Dude, can you imagine being that controller?
Come on over.
Nope.
You also got Newark off you 2 o'clock in about 7 miles.
He keeps trying though, because just because they lost it on radar doesn't mean they can't hear
Yeah.
you.
Well,
He's doing
being
everything he's
control-
trained for.
It's the controller equivalent to fly through the crash. You know, keep
Cactus
talking until
1549, if you can, you got runway 29 available at Newark. It'll be 2 o'clock and 7 miles.
the old F4.
Is that the Intrepid? I think it's
Whatever's in New York Harbor.
The Intrepid, yeah. It's a Hornet too.
HD-11, abort test bombing run. Have an emergency flight control malfunction. 2, join on me. Roger that.
Oh, he's a flight lead.
Yeah, feels like hydraulics.
Sir, do we need to punch out?
No, I can still fly.
That's Jester trying to jump punch him out.
Get the checklist. I'm in the checklist.
Typical backseater.
Yeah. Can I jump out now, sir? Nah. He's zooming.
Dallas Tower, this is Cajun 1-1 with emergency flight control.
Is he Cajun 1-1?
Unable. I repeat, I need a straight-in approach.
Unable.
Okay, proceed straight ahead to runway 21.
2-1, K2-1. 2-1, decreasing speed.
Okay, so every movie tries to do this. You don't necessarily have your name on the side. They always want to do that so you know it's who's flying. But the odds of him actually flying the airplane in this with his name on it, not that great.
I want to believe he was. So
Every time.
every
Maybe
time.
back in those days, you only flew your jet, but
God, I hope not. I'd never have flown.
yeah. All right. So that's legit, a battle damage check.
Yep.
And that's
One, you look clean and dry, but you're still trailing smoke.
Roger that, 2.
I mean, that's normal in an F4 to be trailing smoke, right? I mean,
so that's they always trail smoke. But that's legit battle damage check. I mean,
Yep.
it wasn't a very good one, but
Yeah.
it was still, I mean, you'd have to look you over.
well, and also look at, in theory, how his plane's flying. You're not going to be real close to him
Right,
with those
yeah.
erratic. So, I mean, it probably is about as good of a battle damage check as I'm going to do with a plane that's
Yeah.
waffling
That's
around like that.
Well, the Wizzo is trying to eject.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't look very Nellis-like, though.
Heading 020,
Well.
5 miles out, sir.
All right, gear in 3.
That's exactly what you would do as a wingman.
Check airspeed. Looks like you're coming in hot.
Dallas Tower, I need speed to maintain control. Avoiding a stall.
Legit, having a chase aircraft.
Not sure Tower would tell you you're looking fast, though. That's.
Bring her back.
But he has to explain it somehow, right?
So actually, hydraulic problem like that, you're probably taking an arrested landing.
I was wondering
Even
about that
F4.
because they show a wire go by,
Yeah, no, you're probably taking an arrested landing.
but I don't know the F4, so maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what they're kind of unclear on what the emergency is.
Yeah.
But so that part is legit. Having a chase aircraft with an emergency, that is exactly how we do it. I mean, when we had the lightning strike, I just about landed with the guy trying to talk him down. So
Yep,
that is
100%.
100%. And then he goes around. That's it. That's 100% correct.
That was a hell of a landing, sir. I didn't think we were going to make it.
That's what Wizzos do. Every landing they say that.
They talk you up afterwards.
I didn't think we were going to make it. Do they always say that? Hell of a landing, sir. Thought I was going to die.
Yeah. That's
So his whole life has been having people fly with him that didn't think they were going to make it.
I could relate.
Yeah. All right, finding the Irish pub. That's legit.
Yep.
Doesn't matter where you are. An airline pilot
Check the
will
belt and shoes.
always fly the. Was he wearing New Balance?
All right.
Dude, they had the fact that they had rescue divers on call is just.
Golly.
That's amazing.
Yep. I mean, but there's a lot of water traffic around there, right? I mean, that's probably their protocol, I'd assume.
I will give credit to their visual effects department because it's such a seamless transition between however they did this versus real versus, visual effects and stuff. It really, you can't tell.
Yeah.
That water had to be ice cold.
I bet he didn't feel it.
The adrenaline's going too much?
Yeah, right now. But I mean, this is my biggest fear is like that thought of leaving somebody. The flight attendant's like, seriously.
Gotta count. 155.
155.
It's official. 155.
155.
And adrenaline dump.
155.
Right there. Like
book to.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job in the movie of portraying all this stuff. Because like this could have been very much just an aviation movie, just about that. You know what I mean? And I think they do a good job about all the. I mean, we talk about all the mental health aspects of.
See, this is more realistic. The courtyard by the highway, that's probably better. That's closer to a real life airline hotel. Not the Marriott downtown. It's this.
So,
well, that's because this was the unplanned.
I don't know the thing you pulled off out there today.
Well, we're here.
Razor blades, toothpaste,
New Balance.
and new clothes.
Brand new pair of New Balance.
Pair of ninjas.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Charles Porter. I've been assigned by the National Transportation Safety Board to conduct this public hearing here today. We have a lot of material to cover. But before we listen to the cockpit voice recording, and we will be listening to it for the first time along with you, gentlemen.
That doesn't seem realistic.
Request of Captain Sullenberger and the Union, Airbus has agreed to link us via satellite to today's piloted simulations.
Upload the link, please.
That doesn't seem realistic.
Just simulation, Sully. Won't change my mind about
Seems like they would just do it and then here's the video.
Might change theirs.
Because the sim could break.
Yeah. That is a simulator.
Why do you need an external shot for the NTSB board?
So you know it's a simulator.
Number one's rolling back. Or number two.
Pilot's off.
I bet these are real pilots.
Flight director's off.
Probably.
All right,
for the movie, they probably grabbed.
49,
Yeah.
engine failure, we have to return to the field.
Okay, I'm going to left turn.
Have you ever
back
done this
to where you
profile?
were on 3.
I'll activate the approach point.
Not officially,
So
but
activate it.
Did you land in the Hudson?
Runway 13.
I didn't make it to LaGuardia.
Glide slope's coming in nicely.
Flaps 2.
Flaps 2.
How would the glide?
Take rate 900.
Jeez. You'd be way high. You'd have to be high. You couldn't be on a glide slope coming in nicely, or otherwise you'd be energy efficient. That's not how flame out landings work.
40. Too low. Flat. 20.
Well, he's manipulating the throttles.
Successful landing at LaGuardia. Runway 13.
For the record, the pilots and the computer sims bear the same result.
Let's try for Teterboro now, please. Upload the second run.
Maybe these are just videos linked because it's different, unless they're doing it in different sims.
Give me a
Sim
heading
2,
310.
go.
Heading 310.
Yeah, I can't imagine they were doing this live.
I'm going to give you direct to Teterboro.
Direct Teterboro.
It's not an accurate sim rendition because if you looked in the plane, a lot of the screens were blank.
Flaps 2.
Oh, yeah.
And all the screens are working there. So,
Right. Because you didn't lose the engines.
yeah, exactly.
They just went idle.
Too low.
They obviously knew the turn and exactly what heading to fly. They did not run a check. They did not switch on the APU.
They had all the same parameters that you faced.
No one warned us.
It's a valid point. That's a hugely valid point.
100%.
Any jet in history.
This wasn't a video game. It was
Oh,
life or
don't
death.
call it a video game. You're going to get
Only
canceled
right,
by
that's
the
40 seconds.
Please ask how many
Sim
practice
people.
runs they had.
17.
17.
17.
The pilot who landed at Teterboro had 17 practice
But doesn't the
attempts
NTSB
before the
dispute this part of the
simulation
movie because they said it wasn't this kind of witch hunt?
Of course they're going to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't doubt
Reaction
that that's
decision
what
time will be set in
federal
35
like this.
seconds.
Who are all these people?
I don't know. I mean, it is a
Federal government operation, so
yeah,
3 times as many people as you need for twice as much money.
yeah. It's the longest 35 seconds in the world. Just sit there watching this.
Here we go.
That guy's definitely a real pilot.
Oh, 1,000%.
That is not an actor.
No. Nope. Probably a
They want to
instructor
send
too.
out some Airbus pilots to come do this. For the movie, I mean.
Yeah, 100%.
Hit the old
40, 30,
approach lights.
20.
That's going to hurt. Oh, that's going to hurt.
Crash overrides
like,
on.
Yeah.
This one would have been, Teterboro would have been a really bad idea. Crash override.
Look, she's going idle. Like, you just crashed into a building, idle. Idle with no engines.
Habit pattern. Habit pattern.
Ignition start.
Yeah, see how the screens are?
Yeah.
I'm starting the APU.
So is the rat deployed now?
My aircraft. Your aircraft.
That's
Get
legit.
at the QR engine.
Priority left.
Loss of thrust
That's
on both
legit.
engines. Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Cactus 1549. Hit birds. We've lost thrust on both engines. We are turning back towards LaGuardia.
Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading 220.
220.
Which engine did you
He
use?
called for the thing that they wanted him to call for, so it's not like he blew it off. He assessed.
It's in the turn you realized it wasn't going to.
Right.
If you're remaining engine mode selector.
So what's their problem?
Ignition.
Ignition.
Thrust levers confirm idle.
Idle.
Airspeed.
It's
Up and
confirmed.
relay 300
confirmed.
knots.
You got to do the confirm
He's
thing.
Don't have
busy.
that.
No, we don't.
Cactus 1549, if we can get it for you, do you want to try to land runway 13?
We are unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
Emergency electrical power. Emergency generator not online.
Online.
ATC notified Squawk 7700.
Yep.
Distress message transmit. We did that.
Cactus 1549, it's going to be left traffic.
That's exactly
runway
how you run a
31.
checklist, too. It sounds
Unable.
exactly.
Okay, what do you need to land?
Wind shear.
Back one.
An engine, at least?
Yep. So he's resetting the fax to get flight control computers back online, is what he's doing.
So it was in, like, direct law or something?
Yeah, to help him.
Prior to this, though, it's like it's just direct control.
Yeah.
10 seconds, Captain. Come on.
So yeah, so he's doing all the right
Cactus
thing. I mean,
1549,
which makes
runway
sense.
4 is
They're running
available
the
if you want to
checklist.
make left traffic to runway 4.
I don't think we can make any runway. What about over to our right? Anything in New Jersey? Maybe Teterboro?
Can you imagine
Okay,
doing this
yeah,
single
off your right
pilot?
side is Teterboro Airport.
I
LaGuardia
mean, you'll have a guy
departure,
on the ground.
got emergency
sitting at his
inbound.
pool helping you, right?
Cactus
Flipping the
1549
switches.
of the GW Bridge.
Put the flaps out.
Flaps out.
Cactus 1549 radar contact lost.
That's
You'll
accurate.
Scott Newark off you at 2 o'clock in about 7 miles.
You wouldn't tell them which setting to do?
Feet in the air.
Say flaps down.
I think he would probably shoot it for any to see what he can get at that point. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
1549?
Yeah.
Still
Can
up?
the APU run it?
50 knots.
Yeah, he went to 2,
flaps
which
two,
would
one
be
more.
the.
No, let's do it.
You got runway 29 available at
It would
Newark.
be
It'll
where
be
you
2
would
o'clock
do
in
that.
7 miles.
You got any ideas?
Actually not.
I mean, that's CRM. You got any ideas? Nope. Okay.
We're gonna brace.
Didn't they say something about the angle of impact actually didn't work? Like he actually got slow and dropped it in, and that's actually what made it better.
I mean, obviously that's a real video, but like we would practice ditching like that in the E2, and I mean, wings level. There's so many things that you have to be perfect on because you drag a wingtip, that thing's. Yeah. That'd be weird. I bet that's the first time. I mean, they're showing that it's the first time they heard it since.
Right. You're reliving it.
Yeah, that would be Because I mean, for days now.
Quick break.
Yeah.
I
So
got
I'm gonna go throw up real quick.
Like
We did
Tom
this
Hanks
together. We were a team.
sounds like a captain, an airline guy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sully. We did our job. We did our job.
There you go.
We just received a comprehensive report.
Timing is
There was extensive damage to both the guide vanes and fan blades of the engine. 5 compressor blades were fractured, and 8 variable guide vanes missing.
I don't even know what that means.
So no thrust.
As you testified, it was completely destroyed. The
Wouldn't
ACARS
the
data was wrong.
Impact do some of that?
ACARS data? Why would ACARS be reporting?
I don't.
I'd like to add something on a personal note. I can say with absolute confidence that
ACARS is
after
reporting
speaking with the rest of the flight crew, with bird experts, aviation engineers, after running through every scenario, after interviewing
it's
each
serious.
player,
Calls it scenario.
there is still an X in this result. And it's you, Captain Sullenberger. Remove you from the equation and the math
Even she's hitting on him.
just fails.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I bet he got a lot of that.
I disagree. It wasn't just me. It was all of us. It was Jeff and Donna and Sheila. And
How's this like, I'm sitting right here.
Yeah.
all of the passengers, the rescue workers, air traffic control.
Hot dog vendor outside that gave me a hot dog.
Well, dude, you'd be so hungry.
We all did it.
So I actually use this. It's funny because in the industry, we talk about what our jobs are as pilots, and I tell my FOs, I go, hey, our job's point A to point B safely, right? That's it. Like if point B happens to be where they bought a ticket, that's great, but that's extra credit. And, they kind of look at me a lot of times and I go, well, let's look at Sully. Nobody bought a ticket to land on the Hudson River that day, but nobody complained about it, right? So that's our job ultimately in this industry is safety, period. And he did it. They did it.
Does his logbook have like a 0.4 in it somewhere?
With one less. Do you count the landing? I mean,
oh, yeah. He's made it very clear that was a landing.
That's true. It's true. Probably does have a 208-second flight or whatever he said it was. Look, aviation movies as a whole are very hit or miss, right? I mean, they really are, and some of them miss, but can still be a hit. Like they do things that you're like, that's not accurate, but you know what? It was good entertainment. I think this one was a hit. And it hit the mark. It really did. It was accurate as it could be, and it also accurately portrayed, at least from the pilot standpoint. Now I can't speak to the NTSB and all that, but but again, in Hollywood, when you're making a movie, there has to be a villain, right?
I mean, it's a pretty safe assumption to make the federal government
probably, yeah,
just in general.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
maybe the people on the NTSB board that did this particular incident didn't need to be the villain, but as a general overarching, sure, they probably deserved it somewhere else. So
I mean, you couldn't make the bird the villain.
Well, you could, but it'd be a very short movie because
it would be Pixar.
Die.
It would just be a Pixar movie.
Yeah,
like if the bird John Wicked after when his whole family was killed by an A320.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
could write
WOMBAT,
that story.
Thank you for joining us today for Mover Ruins Movies. We didn't really ruin this one, so I don't think we can call it that as much, but we'll try.
No. We tried.
Go buy your book. That's what people need to do. Buy your books. And we'll see you on the next show whenever you're back.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
Awesome.